people person, Mr. Washington.
That's me.
So welcome.
Welcome.
Welcome to the Padernacht podcast, buddy.
Thank you.
It's good to see you.
That's always a pleasure to see you.
Yeah, man. I haven't seen you in a while.
It's been a minute. My 40.
Was it your birthday?
Yeah.
Was it your birthday? And your birthday, and how long ago was that? April, May?
March 14th.
No.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. March of 2024?
Yeah.
We're in April of 2025. Where have
see.
you been?
Living, man. Living life. Just like you, man. Working, trying to figure this thing out, man.
Yeah, but a year, dude. Like
I know. And I always say that with you. Like we can't let so much time slip between our seeing each other and all that stuff.
Yeah, man. It's because it's always so genuine and it's like just awesome just connecting.
Yeah, because you're my bro, man.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like and it's been that way for as far as I can remember. So
yeah, so I remember my first recollection of you was prior to me even being in post, right? Because I used to go up there with Julie and Jose.
Yeah.
And playing ball.
Playing ball
at the parties. But you were like, you know what I mean? Like you just had like this genuineness about you, right?
Thank you, sir.
So like that was like my earliest recollection. And then when I went to post, we just clicked.
Yeah, no, and I think that goes without saying. It's like that energy. When you meet somebody who's like you just kind of gravitate towards them. And that energy connects, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You're my boy because of who you are.
Well, it helps that we're both from the Bronx.
Oh yeah, that always helps.
Yeah.
That's always the connecting piece in a lot of my relationships. It's like, yeah, we're from the BX and we rep that hard.
Yes.
Yeah, man. Born and raised, grew up in all parts of the Bronx, man.
Where'd you go to school?
I went to school. Oh man. So I went to for high school.
Oh, either way. Yeah. Start with I guess grammar school.
Grammar school and everything. I went to PS 153 and then I went to IS 181. I was supposed to be in 180. Then I moved from one section of Co-op City to section 1, from section 3 to section 1. And
that switches schools?
Yeah. So I ended up in 181 versus 180, which is where all my friends were at the time.
Okay.
And then for high school, I was terrible in junior high school.
Okay.
And I'm like, you want to try something new? I ended up at Mount St. Michael Academy.
All right.
And then got the boot.
Really?
From there.
You got kicked out of Mount St. Michael?
Yeah, man. I'm not
you
proud.
Must have really.
I'm not proud.
It's
man.
not that.
I'm not proud at all.
It's really difficult to get thrown out of Mount.
That's what people tell me, but I did it, and I'm not proud of it. It was a tough go, man.
And where'd you end up after that?
So then, from that point, we moved. My parents bought a house in New Rochelle, and that's how I ended up in New Rochelle. So that was my transition from the hood to the burbs.
Gotcha.
You know what I mean? But it was dope.
And then how'd you end up at LIU at Post?
So that's a funny story. So, I wasn't getting accepted to any colleges because of my high school grades and everything that came along with that. And I was fortunate enough to get an interview for the General Studies program, I think it was called.
Okay.
And
General Studies at Post.
At Post, yeah.
Okay. I don't even know what this General Studies program is.
I don't even remember. It's been so long.
It was a pilot program, and it stopped after you, maybe.
But whatever the case may be, I got in. Because I was interviewed and I got to show who I was as a person.
There we go. And that always works.
Yeah, and that was it, man. It was bad, bro. It was bad. But I got in just because I had an interview.
So funny is I ended up at Post because I only applied to like 4 or 5 others. Like I applied to like 4 schools and I didn't get into really any of them. I got into Post and I got into St. John's.
You got into St. John's?
I got into St. John's.
But you had what you call it? I was about to say Hayes. You didn't go to Hayes.
No,
Fordham Prep.
Fordham. Yeah.
So
but my grades were terrible. My grades were absolutely terrible.
How the hell did you get into St. John's?
I don't know. But I got into St. John's. My grade. I guess I did good on my SATs. I don't even know.
That was the thing that I think sealed for me, was that I did decent on my SATs. Like 1,000 or 1,100.
Whatever it was.
Like
they don't even use. You know they don't even use SATs anymore.
I don't know. Like, and I work with kids. It's terrible. But yeah, I don't even know what they do for that.
They do, it's some other sort of school. It's some other sort of testing program that they use.
I don't even know. I haven't got there yet.
Yeah.
But,
well, you will very soon, but soon enough.
Yeah, I will.
Soon enough.
I will for sure. Yeah, man. So that's how I ended up at Post, man. I had nobody that went there before, anything like that. It was just I wanted to be close to home. but I wanted to get the
the feel
of
of,
being
yeah,
away,
dude, same exact thing
and
for
it
me.
worked out perfect. And
I ended up, I picked Post. I put Post on there because of, Jose and Julie.
Yeah.
And so my parents made me go to Fordham. Right. But I didn't really want to go to Fordham. I wanted to go to either Spelman. I really didn't want to go to Mount at all because I didn't want to go to an all guys school. Everybody wanted to go to Spelman because that's where the girls were. Right. So, but my parents forced me to go to Fordham. And when it came time for college, I was like, yo, I'm making a decision. I'm going where my friends are going.
Yeah.
And I was the first one who said I was going to go to Post. And then from there, Joey was like, I'm going to go to Post. And then there was everybody was like, what is this school? Long Island University, CW Post. And I was like, yeah. And then
you set the trend.
I set the trend. I really did. I will honestly, I'll take credit for that. I don't know. Joey might fact check me. But,
that's coming. Like, what did you say?
He might fact check me, but I'm pretty sure that, to my recollection, I set the trend. And then, we had like 6 or 7 of us there.
Yeah, no, you guys were definitely
from Fordham Prep.
Yeah, you guys were definitely deep. But it was cool though because that your crew and they become like my family. Like all your boys became my boys. You know what I mean? And that like lifelong friends, man, from that experience.
It's crazy to think that, we're going on 20 years out of college, right? Like I walked in, and I always say I walked because I didn't graduate until like 5 years ago, but I walked in 2000. I walked in 2004. So yeah, 21 years out of college.
And that's one of the things, like, the reason I'm sitting here is because you inspired me to finish my shit. You know what I mean?
And you got yours done.
Yeah. And I got it done because I saw you and I was like, man, the reaction that your mom gave you, I never forget that. That was it for me. I was like, seeing that, I was like, damn, man, I owe that to my family, to my parents and stuff.
Yep. Especially, that's really it.
Yeah, man. They bust their ass, to get me here. They made sure that I had everything that I needed.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So.
And wanted for the most part.
Yeah. Right? Oh yeah. Now
short
I'm straight.
Of like,
I
want a spaceship. You know what I mean? If I wanted J's, I got J's. If I wanted this, I got
a spaceship is crazy.
Yeah,
I didn't get a So that's the crazy thing. Like all my sneakers and stuff like that growing up, like I got on my own.
Okay.
And so my parents weren't really into the getting you kicks like that. I had to go get out there. Go get it.
Go get it.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I did that. I before my pops passed in 2009. He made me promise that I was going to do it. Yeah. And it was already 5 years. And I told them, first of all, I told everybody in the world, I was like, I'm gonna finish my course in the summer.
Yeah.
And then of course you walk, and then all of a sudden,
it's over. And you start making money. And you start
every couple months. When are you finishing your degree? And then finally, like literally on his deathbed, think about fathers, bro. Like on his deathbed, he was like, he made me promise that I was gonna get my degree.
Yeah.
And then my dumbass still took me another probably 10 years after that to get it done. But I always knew I had to do it.
It's a lingering thing, bro. It was hanging over me, man. It was like that weight. It was like right here. I could feel it every single day. I'm like, I gotta get this thing done.
What'd you have left? I only had to write a paper. What'd you have left?
I had that whole course.
You had to do the first part of it, the
and
research
the second
part.
part.
Oh, thank God.
Both parts, bro. It was dreadful.
Were you dealing with Dress? Were you dealing with Professor Dress?
And that's the crazy part, because at that point she had retired, so she plugged me back in.
Oh, good.
She blessed me.
God bless her, man.
Yo,
shout out to Professor Dress.
Wherever you are, Professor Dress, yo.
Yeah, seriously.
You're the GOAT. I love you. I love you.
I'm talking about, like, I used to email her. I would text her.
Yeah.
So you had to do the first and the second part.
Yeah, man. She blessed me with the 2 professors. One of the professors, for the second part, ended up being a student that I had class with, which is crazy.
Really?
Oh my God. She was like, yeah, I remember you. I was like, shit.
I don't remember you.
I was like, what? I was like, oh my God.
One thing about college is I don't really remember class.
You know what?
I was terrible, man.
Bro, so that's the crazy part, because I got to college and I started to figure it out. That's when I was on
out that you didn't have to go to class? That's what I figured out.
No,
that was like lesson 1 for me.
I started doing really well, man.
Oh, okay.
And I started finding like the balance. Well, it was a temporary balance. I started finding the balance between work and play. Mm-hmm. And I was like, I can do this. I had no balance. But then I lost it very quickly.
Yeah, I had zero balance. Like I once I learned, first of all, I walked into whatever it was. It was like trigonometry or like whatever. Freshman year, I walked into whatever the math class was that they thought I should have been in.
Yeah.
I walked in and listen, first of all, I'm great with addition, subtraction, multiplication, but once they start putting letters
that's
shapes, I'm done.
I hate it too, man.
I walked in and she started writing the board. She gave out the syllabus. I looked at this and I was like, I literally got up and walked out.
I'm not going to this class no more.
I went straight to the registration office or whatever. I said, give me the curriculum for whatever degree has the least amount of math possible. And that's how I ended up in public relations.
Are you serious?
Swear to God. That's how I ended up in public. She was like, well, you can pick communications. And I was like, okay. And there was two options. It was marketing or public relations. And I was like, well, how much math is in this? And then marketing had more math. I'm like, nope, I'll take PR. I didn't even know what PR was. No idea what public relations was.
Are you serious?
I swear to you. And I also learned in college that you could just drop a class.
Yeah, hold on. That was like the greatest thing ever.
You could just drop.
You know what? I'm done with you. I don't like this.
I haven't been there for the first 5 or 6 classes.
No more of this class.
Once the professor told me, listen, if you don't do X, Y, and Z, you're gonna fail.
Yeah.
I was like, all right, I'll just drop it.
Yeah.
So my grades looked good because I dropped everything.
All the shit that was like giving you trouble. Like, you know what?
I don't like that.
Get out of here. I'm done with that.
So I ended up. There was one semester I think I ended up with like 6 credits.
Wow.
Yeah.
Chief.
I dropped like 2 or 3 classes. My dad was happy because I didn't have no Fs. But like,
so you had the great GPA, but you didn't have any credits to show for it.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I did like 12 credits a year.
That was the norm.
And I think I did like 15 or 17 one time. I was like,
that must have been a lot of work.
Then that's when I got to pressing the drop button. Like, nope.
Yeah.
Drop that. Brought it down to 12, but that also, had me in college for the next 27 years.
Dude, that's what I'm saying. Like, I didn't really.
I was in there like, damn. It's bad when you're in the like the food area, the calf or the quad or whatever it is.
Hillwood,
right? And I'm sitting there, and then the freshmen they're like, yo, Unc, or calling me like some old man type shit. I'm like, yo, I'm only 22 years old, but at 22, you're the old
to an
person.
18-year-old.
Yeah. I was the old dude. They were like, yo, they're going to build a statue for you outside of Hillwood. That was the joke. I'm like, damn, this is where I am.
I really enjoyed college.
Hell yeah.
I enjoyed it way more than high school.
Hell yeah.
But like, I didn't really, it's not that I didn't learn nothing, but what I learned was really just the adulthood of being on your own, doing your laundry on your own, figuring out dinner, figuring out lunch, managing your meal card, right? Like, and not ODing on, and like budgeting.
It definitely was an intro into real life 101, but it's nothing like the real world. That's the one thing I realized when I first got out of college. Like, yo, this set me up, but that real world shit hit hard.
So imagine though if we didn't have that,
and
we would have stayed home for those 4 years.
Absolutely,
we would have been.
And then the other part about it is like you make lifelong, like my best friends in the world are from college. That college experience. My wife, who was my best friend, she became my wife. So CW Post gave me everything.
Yeah.
So
you got to be happy,
Hell yeah,
I wasn't so happy when they changed the name though.
That's whack, man.
Yeah, right?
And Sharks, bro, like Sharks, we couldn't do
Pioneers weren't so cool.
The Pioneers weren't so great. but Sharks though, and then change the colors.
Yeah, it's like blue and yellow now.
That's crazy.
And it's not even CW anymore.
It's LIU Post.
Remember we had CW?
Yeah,
it's just LIU Post.
LIU Post, yeah, it's whack.
It's insane.
Yeah, I don't like it.
I remember the parties the most.
Bro.
I remember the parties. I learned business in college, not in class, but like throwing parties.
Yeah, man. And that was fun. Like we definitely got into like a business bag of club promotion and learning the ropes and how to divvy up the money and all that stuff. And
marketing, right?
And how
ladies come free before 11.
Mixing business with pleasure and all those things that come along with that. But yeah, man, I wouldn't trade any of that for the world, man. Those times like really shape who I am as a person. I wouldn't, like I said, wouldn't have my wife, wouldn't have my kids, wouldn't have my friendship, wouldn't be sitting here right now if it wasn't for that place. You know what I mean?
Are you a huge advocate of, well, first of all, how old are the kids now?
7 and 13.
7 and 13. Yeah. So are you a huge advocate on like they have to go to college?
Nah, not at all. And the reason being is that I have friends who are super successful that have never stepped foot in a college classroom. And that goes back to networking and being kind to people and never burning your bridges. Now, what I will tell my children is what I'll tell them to this day is like, you got to at least go for 1 year. And the experience that you get from college is nothing like it.
Yeah.
It's nothing like it. But you don't have to. If you tell me a plan of what that you want to do, I'll support it.
So there is you're fully supportive of going there for a year, experience it.
Yeah.
I think if you have a better plan or a better idea or something that you think that you can value from.
Yeah, just then you do that. And then also I have like my son, for example, he knows that he wants to go to college, and that's great. You know what I mean? But he might get there and discover like, you know, he takes a business class or whatever. And he's like, I'm going to be an entrepreneur. To hell with this. And I'll be like, you know what? You did your thing. You went in there, you tried something. But I do think that everybody should experience it, man. There's nothing greater than being in a college, in a dorm, having everybody around you, and everybody's like-minded. Everybody's still trying to figure themselves out and all that stuff. There's people all around you all the time. It's constant motion. It's like the greatest thing, man.
I'll never forget
a dull moment.
The moment that stuck out to me the most was when my parents actually dropped me off. Like when you get dropped off, and you know, we had it all set up, right? Me, John, Jose, Julie. It was like, all right, cool. Once we get dropped off, we're gonna meet up at whatever 4 o'clock. You know, everybody had, you know what I mean? Like,
that's dope. See, I didn't have that experience though, because I didn't know anybody there. So I was like,
and Jose and Julie had the lay of the land already.
Yeah,
so they kind of knew. Like they were like, yo, you're gonna go here. You're gonna go. Like,
shout out to Julie though. Julie lived right above me. Like when my freshman year, Julie lived right above me, and she had the tunes. Like I'm like, yo, let me get that CD, yo. Right? It's like the hood, you know what I'm saying? Just yell out the window, yo, Julie!
That was what? That was Riggs?
Yeah, Riggs. Yeah, the dungeon.
I remember her room in Riggs. I wasn't even in college, and I wasn't even there yet, and we got written up.
Yeah. Oh, like I know that story.
My write-up report dated back to before I was a student, dude. Like, so
you get kicked out of school you don't go to.
I didn't. You know, my write-up, I got written up that one time, and so when I got in trouble, like for like the umpteenth time, I sat in front of Sue Odie, whatever her name was.
Dr. Sue Odie. Shout out to Sue. I worked there, the provost, the associate provost. Yeah, I worked there.
So I never knew what a provost did.
Yeah.
But apparently they're like the disciplinarian.
Yeah.
So I went in front of her, and you know, I'm sitting there like, all right, you know, whatever. Who's this lady? I never Dr. Sue Odie. I guess you shouting her out. I didn't want to shout her out. But anyway, so she pulls out like she was like, so tell me. She was like, so you got in trouble here. It says here that you were throwing parties and you were littering the campus. I was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
So she pulls out a piece of paper. She pulls out a folder, first of all, like this thick. In that file, so right at the top, she pulls it out. She goes, is your cell phone number 12 blah 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 blah? I was like, you can't get a real cell phone number. we didn't have. We put it on the flyer.
Yeah. The flyer. Your name was
call Steve.
Call me directly.
I didn't realize she had a flyer. Like, it was really hard to walk that one back from her.
Yeah.
But she was like, okay. So she was like, so will you admit that this is yours? I was like, I'm not going to admit to it. I thought it was in a court of law. I was like, well, you know, I'm not going to admit to anything, but you can make whatever assumption you want. I don't know what the hell I was saying. But then she was like, you know, I'm trying to really understand here how your freshman year was whatever, fall of 99. She's like, but I had this report here from 1998 in Riggs Hall in the room of Julissa.
Wow.
Yeah. She was like, how is it that this is in my report? I was like, I was visiting, and
I forgot that you got there. You got there in 99.
99, yeah.
So I was already there 2 years in.
Yep.
So I was already, I had already laid my thing down.
Yes, you sure did. You sure did.
I'm not proud of it. You know?
Well, whatever.
But it's, you know what I mean? Those are the fun times, man. Like like I tell everybody, those 5 years, unfortunately, those were the best 5 years of my life, bro. And I wouldn't trade that shit for nothing. I would go back and do it in a heartbeat over if it yielded the same results. You know?
I college, wow. I'll never forget the actual graduation. We went out the night before. We were clubbing in the city. This is when like clubbing was like the thing, right? Yeah. And I legit like slept through the graduation. I was sitting next to Joey. It was me, Joey, and Tara. And I'm sitting there, and then Tata and Karab were there too. But like we're like in that row, right? And I'm sitting there like falling asleep during the graduation, during the keynote. it was just I didn't care. Like
that's the other part too. What I realized is that a lot of my time spent there, I wasn't taking any of it seriously.
No,
like
not
any
at
of
all.
it. And a lot of my life was like that. Like I didn't take a lot of shit seriously. I was like, when you think back, like, damn, I didn't take anything seriously. But specifically college, like I was just there for a good time, bro.
Mm-hmm.
Like I was just there for the
Well,
fun of
the
it.
fact that we both were there for 5 years and didn't get a degree kind of shows that. But we both went back. How many people were there that took it seriously that maybe didn't graduate and never decided to go back?
Absolutely. And there's still people that have gone through those halls, those same halls, never finished, that are moderately successful.
Yeah.
Then you have those who just kind of fizzled out, and you're like, what the hell happened to so-and-so, right? But yeah, man, those times that we had partying and moving from place to place. And yeah, I don't want to go into too much detail.
No, we don't need to. We don't need to. The point is that like that time and the fact that like you and I and then the broader group, there's a bunch of us, right? That have maintained such close friendships over the years. And I feel like people who don't have close friends, I always kind of worry a little bit. Like, like I kind of like question it a little bit because like that
what kind of person are you?
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean?
That you don't have people that you could just call like, like your brother, your sister, whatever
and
it may be.
Pick right up. Like me and you, we don't have to speak every single day, but when I speak to you, it's instant.
Yes.
Like right back to it. Like we never left. Same thing with John, 3-6, like the whole crew. Like and when we see each other, it's like it's magic. Like I don't think I laugh as hard as I do than when I'm with my boys from those days. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So I was telling you prior to us actually jumping on that, like, so the podcast themes, right? Business, personal, the Bronx, right? So it kind of all ties in. But for you, you're somebody that I really, I'm going to say this honestly with a genuine heart. Like I honestly look up to you in a way. The way you embrace fatherhood and marriage. Can you just?
So the fatherhood piece comes from my own father, and I'm fortunate enough to come from two parents who are the start of the changing of the guard in my family. So my father is the oldest of 5 siblings. I might, if I'm getting that wrong, bug it out, but whatever. And my mom is the eldest too. And they both are the first ones to graduate college. They're the first ones to own a home. They're the first one, like they set the mold. And I'm fortunate to be born to them because
to two people who
are the, so my dad always just wanted to make sure that I had a better life than he did. He made sure that he was present, and for me, that's everything. So when I'm with my children, it's just being present and trying to give them as much love as possible because that's what I had.
Yeah.
As far as the husband piece is that, I again, my dad, seeing how he loved my mom, having that foundation always made it a little easier, but you know who I was prior to getting married, and that's one of those things where it's like you just have to be intentional with every day, and it's work, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I know that you're about to cross over and join us, and we've been waiting for you, but you know what, you're gonna be great at it because you are you're a man's man, and you already have the intangibles to be a great husband. You're already a great dad, to the kids that are around you, whatever the case may be. And yeah, man, I can't wait to see how that looks.
How that plays out.
Yeah, man.
It's gonna play out wonderfully. It's gonna play out wonderfully.
It has to, man.
Somebody said to me, they were like, somebody said something to me, and I don't know what the hell it was. I was like, listen. I was like, this better work because I'm not getting divorced. I don't believe in divorce. We're gonna work it out. I waited this long to propose and to make sure that Jen was the one, and that's it. Like for better or worse, like I'm gonna take those vows very seriously.
And that's the thing, like even with that, right? We go into marriages. You go into a marriage, and I think that should be the ultimate goal, right? Like I'm never Like, I'm going to be with this person.
There is no try.
There's no try. Like, we're going to do it. Like, we're just going to do it, and we're going to keep working at it. And it is going to be, it's not an easy thing because you're constantly changing and evolving as an individual, and your partner is constantly changing and evolving as an individual. So it's work, man. It's real work. But I love that I get to do it with the person that I chose, and that she chose me, and she continues to choose me every day, and I continue to choose her every day. And it's never it's never easy. My wife is Puerto Rican, so she's gonna get mad if people saying that. But no, it's a blessing, man, because we have love, man. You know, when you have that, you hold on to that shit.
What are some of the struggles you early fatherhood?
Early fatherhood. Well, not knowing what the hell I was doing. You know what I mean? Like, you want to be like the best dad. You want to be the cool dad, you know? And it's finding that balance between being a dad and a friend, right? Like, my son is my main man. Like, I love him to life, you know what I mean? And he is always asking me questions, and I know that I am his like
source of info. I'm
his main source, right? Yeah. And everything that I do in my life, he's recording it. Everything that I do, he's making a mental note of. So that pressure, that was one of the most scariest things about being a dad, was like, this person is looking to me,
modeling their life.
So I have to be better than what I've been.
Yeah.
And I have to be constantly improving. I can't be afraid to do certain things. I can't tell my kid, you can be anything. And then I'm over here like, I'm scared to try that. You know what I mean? And that was one of those things that held me back as a young man, was being afraid to do new things. But I got over that. I try anything now. You know what I mean? I tell my kids that I work with, everything that's good in my life came from on the other side of discomfort.
Yeah.
And being uncomfortable. Like, that's the gem right there. The hitting that rock and making the diamond, or whatever the case may be. Like, that's going through those processes is what made me become a better human being.
What characteristics do you see of yourself in your son? I'm sure that there's plenty.
He's a social butterfly. The kid he's funny. He's witty. He's so quick with it. I hate it. Like, he has great hair, right? And that's his thing. I'm bald, so, and he's like, he'll snap, boom.
Dad. Oh, he's hitting you with snaps.
Yeah, he's good, man. And I'm like, damn. I'm like, you are my boy. He's good. He's quick. But he's a great kid, man. He's just compassionate, and he has very even temperament, and he loves hard. Like, he's just a lovable, loving.
Well, I can see where that comes from.
Person, thank you, man.
I can see where that comes from.
Yeah, he's just damn. That's my heart, man.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I give talk about my kids, man.
Yeah,
that's different. It's different,
That's the point, man. One day they're gonna watch this.
Yeah, and
you know what I mean.
But that's the thing with my kids. I'm always intentional. With anybody who I love, I'm intentional. Like, I'll tell you when we hang up the phone, love you, bro. I don't care who you are. I don't care how uncomfortable it makes you feel. Like, you're gonna know that I love you, from the time we speak to the time to the time I expire. I no longer draw breath. You're gonna know. There's never gonna be any question about it. Like, yo, Reef loved me. You know
That's
what I mean?
important, and I noticed that a couple of years ago.
Yeah.
Like, and I wasn't really big on that. Like, I never really. But it wasn't until, like, I started, like, noticing people, like, passing and going to funerals and going. Like, I was at a wake yesterday for a dude that he was older than me from the neighborhood or whatever. But, like, one of the things they talked about, like, I see him time to time. It wasn't like someone that was super close to me, but still, man, like, one of the things that one of his good friends got up there to talk, and his friend was like, I'm so glad that I was able to tell him that I loved him before we hung up the last conversation.
Yeah.
And I just realized that over the past couple of years, like, especially when I'm talking to you or I'm talking to John or I'm talking to certain people, it's like, people say that, and it's like, now I've started to do the same thing, because I feel like it's something that's not, especially, man's man, like, you don't really. Like,
man, I throw all that right out the window, man. And I realized that at a very young age, the man's man and being tough and all that, I'm tough when I need to be, right? Like, you're not gonna just do or say anything to me crazy, but I'm always gonna lead with love. That's how I operate. There's times where you have to, you know, impart your masculinity or whatever like that. But for the most part, man, everything I do is like love based. When you speak to me, I'm greeting you with love and kindness first and foremost before anything.
Yep.
And then, you know, God forbid something were to happen to me, right? You'll always know, right? Like, Sharif cared about me.
Last words were,
yeah, love you, and I don't want you to feel guilty because, you know, if God forbid something happens to me, I'm gonna be like, you'll know, you'll be okay. You know what I mean? I'll be gone, but you'll be here. Like, yo, I love that dude. He loved me. We good.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I think that just helps. It helps for me personally. It was like I lost a close friend, and I say he's my cousin because we grew up that way. You know, you grow up in
of course.
Bronx. You got somebody you grew up with from a kid that your cousin, whatever. And when he was murdered, I was 21 years old, and we had lost touch. And I wasn't speaking to him as frequently as I would have liked. And I'd never told him those things. So those are the things. And he comes to me in my dreams or whatever. And I always tell him in my dream, right? Yeah. So that's one of those things like I have all these brothers and the opportunity to tell everybody who I see on a daily basis. Yeah, man, I don't pass it up. I don't pass it up, man. Everybody who I encounter, like, it's like, love you, bro. All right, keep it pushing. You know what I'm saying?
How's it being a girl dad?
Man. There's nothing more, man. There's nothing greater, bro. There's nothing greater. My daughter is 7, going on 47, but she is.
Does she take more after like Vanessa or you, or is it a little bit?
Both of our kids, man. They are us. Like, there's no
denying
it. Yeah, you can't deny it. These kids, they came from me and her together. Like, there's no, like, they have us, like, to the T. Like, all of our good and bad qualities, they have them.
Yeah.
But my daughter, man, she's a firecracker, bro. And she's from the moment her eyes open, it's daddy, mommy, nonstop. But she's just a kind, like, my kids are compassionate, man. I'm blessed from that standpoint. Like, both of my children are super passionate and just loving kids, and just like all kids, they could be assholes too. Let's not get it twisted. You know what I mean?
There's different moments. You have to sprinkle them in.
But for the most
overall, I feel like you're instilling those good qualities in them. And
I'm trying, man. I'm trying. You know, like the one thing when you become a parent is like, yo, I just want to raise good human beings. Mm-hmm. That's the basis, right? Yeah. There's good human beings. What they become in the world is up to them, but I just want them to be good to people and for people to be good to them, more importantly, because that's when, you know, there's the change happens. Like, you don't mess with, you know, a man's family, my wife, my family, that's off limits. But those babies, man, my babies.
What are, so obviously them being good people, what are some other lessons that you try to, or some other qualities that you try to instill in them on a basis, and some that they've taken to or maybe not taken to so much?
So I try to give them the things that I wasn't so good at as a kid. I don't want them to be pushovers by any means. And I don't want them to be naive, because when I was younger, I was naive in a lot of ways, and a lot of things happened that could have been avoided if I would have had the right frame of mind. If somebody said, "No, you don't do stuff like that," whatever the case may be. But I just try to give them as much game and information as I possibly can, and not sugarcoat anything for them. You know what I mean? Like, one of the greatest gifts that was given to me by my mom was that she always kept it 1,000 with me when it came to, like, matters of life, right? Like, she told me her experiences, good and bad, and allowed me to process those things and to talk it through without having that.
That's very important.
Yeah, man. And for me, it's like, I want to have that connection with my kids. Like, we want to be able to talk to them. I want them to be able to talk to me about anything. So I talk to them about anything.
Yeah.
And I've sprinkled humor in it just to make it.
That's just your personality.
Yeah, but I sprinkle humor in it so it's not as, daunting for them or but yeah, man, it's hard, man, being a parent, but I love it, man.
So one thing that I notice when I'm dealing with, in my household is I tell a lot of my stories. Mm-hmm. Same way like your mom tells the stories. Like I tell a lot of my stories. And it's funny because like I never got that necessarily from my parents, but I feel like our parents, when we were our kids' ages, were a lot older. I guess that generation was different.
It's very different. And this is my connecting point with that is we are a hip-hop generation, right?
Yes.
So the things that bind us are all based in like that culture of hip-hop. Mm-hmm. So my son and I listen to the same music. You know what I mean? Which is crazy. Like, he's like, yo, Dad, you heard that new Kendrick? Yo, you heard that new? And I'm like, yo, that's crazy. If I went to my pops, he's like, yo, you heard that new Stylistics? Yeah. Like, no, I didn't. Exactly. I don't care. I mean, but I grew up on good music.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's different, but I wasn't, that's not how my bond was formed with my parents.
Not at all.
But me and my son, we bond over music and
sports
video games. Like, it's still, we're basically raising ourselves together. You know what I mean? I'm telling him, I'm a forever student. I'm always growing up. I never stop learning. I can teach you. You can teach me. Mm-hmm. Like, we learn different things. Yep. We pass on the wisdom, right?
Yep. How about marriage? How is it that you, because dude, we know each other, right?
Yeah.
Like, you just seem so devoted to Vanessa and you seem like you're so in love. How do you, like, is there something that what's the secret sauce?
So
what's your secret sauce?
Again, it's intentionality, bro. It's like, first of all, I love to drive Vanessa crazy. Like, so I'm gonna just like, if she's mad at me, I'm just gonna annoy the hell out of her until she loves me. But it's being intentional with her, man. It's like, I made the choice to get down on a knee and propose to her. Like, and then she in turn accepted that. And we made that choice together that we were gonna be together. So we have to work on it together. And again, like I said, there's never a time where I don't want to be with my wife. Like, I love who she is. I love that we get to do this thing together. And yes, there are times where it's rocky and it's hard. Like I said, we're growing on two different wavelengths sometimes, but we're still
on the same path.
But yeah, we're always on the same path, and I think that's what keeps us there. But it's the trying part. Like, my mom always tells me, when you get married, you can't forget to remember. And it's like a very simple saying, but don't forget to remember what got you there in the first place, right? Like, what made you fall in love with this person? And granted that those things change, but you can continue on with that foundation, and you can still build on that foundation. And we're still figuring out as we go. Yeah. But we're figuring out together, and that's the part, right? It's not easy though. It's not.
Does she challenge you a lot?
Hell yeah. But that's what I love about her though. You know what I mean? Like, I've had my experiences. You know my story.
Yeah.
And there's never been a woman that has intrigued me more and has challenged me more than Vanessa.
There you go.
And she continues to challenge me, but it's not always in that type of way where it's like a battle. It's like challenging me to be a better human being, challenging me to be a better person, challenging me to try new things. I would say I give her the responsibility. I mean, not the responsibility. I give her the credit for me being the man that I am today.
That's important.
Yeah.
It makes you really understand that you chose the right person.
Yeah, and even when, when we have our spats and we're arguing or whatever the case may be, like, at the end of the day, I know that she loves the hell out of me, and I hope she knows that I love the hell out of her.
I'm sure she does.
Yeah.
And after she watches this, I'm sure she will too.
I hope so, man. Nah, but it is And it's fun too, man. It's fun to like, especially when you look back at like the old memories and stuff like that when you were young and you're like, damn, man, we've been together. But we've been together for 20 years, bro.
Yeah,
and that for me is, you know, like I said, it's crazy. Yep. That's crazy. Yep.
And you've created two humans.
Yeah, two beautiful humans, man.
Together.
Yeah.
And now you're raising them.
Yeah, man. We're doing our best, man, and it's those kids, man. They'll throw a monkey wrench in it.
Yeah,
you know?
Well,
but
it's a blessing.
It is.
It's a blessing.
We just came back from Jamaica, and we were saying we were out there, Bridget.
What part of Jamaica were you in?
We were in Hanover, Jamaica, which is it was our first time there. So we flew into Montego Bay, went to Hanover. New resort there, which was fire. I'm not gonna give them the plug. I'm not gonna.
It's all right. You can tell me afterwards.
It was dope though. It was an experience, man. And when you go away with your kids, man, it's a whole different
type
ball.
of vacation.
It's a whole different ball. It's just parenting abroad.
So I heard somebody say one time, like, that you bringing your kids on vacation is basically like just all you're doing. You're parenting, but
and it's the same thing.
Yeah, you're still going to bedtime, like,
and what we do is like,
I feel like the experience is more for them.
It is,
and it's to create the memory of the family.
That's it. It's a core memory for the family.
Yeah.
I was fortunate enough when my parents took us on vacation, you know, once or twice a year.
Yeah. I didn't really get that.
Yeah, and I was fortunate, like literally, like my growing up with, you know, in the Bronx, like I was probably one of, like, out of my 10 friends, I was the only one that had both parents in the house.
Mm-hmm.
2 others had. That's a lie. But yeah, man, my parents made sure that we had the memories. Like, we did things together.
So in your mind, you have these memories of a kid, like just being in Florida, being
all
you don't really remember
places.
all the details of it,
and
whether it rained, whatever.
I know I was there. I know that my parents took me, right, and I know that I had a good ass time.
Yeah,
and
you can go back to probably a Polaroid or something.
Yeah, Polaroid. Instamatic 35 millimeter
you
joint.
Go back to a Polaroid.
Man, my mom's has the crazy photo albums too with all those old pictures, the grainy.
The funny thing about the Polaroids were like they'd write on the bottom of it, like they tag up on it, like Thanksgiving 1992, Thanksgiving 92.
Word. For real, we got a bunch of those, man. We got a bunch of those
when we had to develop pictures.
Crazy, man. I remember that. I mean, I was in college. I would take pictures. I have videos and pictures of everything. Everything.
How often you go back and look at them?
Nah, you know what?
You have them like in a box somewhere.
I have them in my college bin. I still have the bin that I moved out with.
Really?
It's still packed with all the stuff. I just transported it from my parents' house to my house.
You got to put some of that stuff on digital though.
Yeah, I did. I uploaded some of them to Facebook like one point. I think I did like a scan of a bunch of pictures and I uploaded them to Facebook. But yeah, it was. I might have got lost like in the U on the Sammy Davis Jr. body or the Rick James. Listen, man. That's my little hobby, man. I like doing that little Photoshop, man. They never hurt nobody.
Yeah, but that's your personality though.
Yeah, man. I like to make people laugh, man. I've always been that way. Like sometimes it's at inappropriate times. My wife hates when I do that. Like, you're like, this is not the time to make a joke, Sharif.
Yeah.
Like, well.
But that shit was funny, right? That shit was funny though, right? Just tell me it's funny and I'll be good.
Exactly. I just need you to she'll be like, oh
you ever had the situation where like she's like trying to parent, like and you're just like not taking it so serious?
Yeah, you know, Steve trying to get me shot, man.
No, I'm just saying. I can only imagine that. Like, she's parenting, like, on some, like, strict, and you're, like, standing there, like, you want to laugh. Or, like, especially you said you and your son kind of, like,
so that's the thing. So me and my son now, like, well, she'll be barking about something, and I'll be looking at him, and he'll be looking at me, and we just start laughing. And she'll be like, both of you are idiots. But he's a teenager now, so now it's like we're getting closer and closer, you know, as he gets older, man. And she man, she's like, you're just like your father.
Yeah, well, I mean, duh.
Yeah, but yeah, we definitely get on her nerves together, and that's it's one of my most favorite things.
I mean, it's somebody told me one time, I don't remember who it was. It might have been my pops. It was like, you can always tell a good marriage or even a good relationship by the way you fight.
Yeah.
You know, like if you're not, and me and Jen talk about this all the time, right?
Yeah,
like you don't fight like. Some people fight nasty.
Yeah, no.
You say nasty things. You do like, And like it's the way you fight, like as long as you're able to come and agree at some point to disagree or just fight fair, right?
Yeah, and there's the times, man, where you get in the trenches, man, and sometimes you could say things that you are hurtful, and you may not even realize that what you're saying is that hurtful, right? And you like have to dial it back and make sure that you apologize, and and that's the other thing. You can't be too, stubborn to say I'm sorry. When you
I don't know if I've said those two words more.
When you get in a relationship, when you get in a relationship, I'm sorry is like yo, I might as well just get a tattoo, bro. Like,
after a while, Jen was like, "But do you mean it?"
Yeah,
I'm like, "Yo, of course I mean it. Like, I don't mean to."
And that's the other part too,
because we just say shit sometimes, like, and we don't even think that, like, and that's the thing. Like, sometimes there's not a filter between here and here. And I think that's a man thing, to be honest.
It is, man. And what women do is that they compartmentalize it. So everything you say is like stored away.
That time
and
in October
they'll tell you the date, the time, it's a
what
time
you were
stamp.
wearing.
You had that stupid green shirt that you got. I hated that shirt.
And then you said that shit, and it made it even worse.
It's like, damn. Oh my God.
But I thought you said you were good. Yeah, well, I didn't forget it.
And that's part of it, man. Is
I think a lot of Al Bundy. And how he was like TV growing up, like you would think that marriage was like this terrible thing.
Yeah.
But like now I feel like society has changed to a point where it's like, I don't want to say like it wasn't cool to be married, but like if you grow up and you see like parents fighting all the time on television and in society, like that's not what I want.
And
at all.
I think that there's a stigma around being married now anyway, right? Like
the old ball and chain. Like why is like?
But the other thing is that it's we're in a microwave society, right? You get married now and get divorced in 10 minutes from now. It's gonna always like you have that option, right? And people don't think that way anymore. Those days are gone. Like this is the time where you got married at 18 and you stay with that person forever, no matter what. You know what I mean? And
till the grave.
Yeah, and those days are long.
Literally, like. Till death do us part.
Yeah, those days are gone. Like there's very few men.
Divorce rate is up.
There's very few men, very few women that have that mentality. Like, yo, we got to stick this through, because they know that you can exit off and this is my stop. I'm getting off. I had enough of this.
I feel like that's terrible, though.
Yeah,
honestly, like why do it if you're not gonna do it?
And that's the thing. But people don't know. People are not, and I tell this to my son too. It's like you have to make long-term decisions when you think of when you get ready to do something. Like there's a short-term end, and then there's a long-term end. Like most people do stuff for that short-term gratification. I want to get married. I want to have that party. I want to get the. You have to think ahead. Like, what is this going to be? I'm going to wake up to this person every single day, and I have to be like, I'm okay with this.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And you have to literally, that's what you have to do every day. You have to wake up and look to your left or right, whoever side of the bed you sleep on. And I choose you today and keep it pushing.
Yeah.
And that's what I do every day. Like, I'm like, I love my wife. I choose you, babe. We keep it pushing. That's it. And I don't say that in my head, but it's like, that's what it is. Like I'm intentional with my day. I'm thinking about her throughout my day, thinking about my kids throughout my day, and making sure that my actions align with home.
Are you a religious person or spiritual?
No, spiritual. Not religious by any means. I believe that there's a higher power. The more I think about it, I think it's a woman.
Might be.
The more I think about it, man, like this guy got to be a woman. But yeah, that's my foundation. My foundation is Christ, right? That's how I was raised. But more so now is this connecting to the spirituality within myself. And
what does that look like?
And I think it's just trying to be a good person every day.
Golden rule, I feel like, is the best.
And I have friends who are atheists who are more godly than any religious person I've ever met in my life. You know what I mean? So that's a whole different that's a whole different pod, bro.
Yeah. But I guess the reason why I'm asking is like, does that affect you, your being a father and a husband, like your spirituality? And like, do you see it playing out? Like the fact that you're trying to be a good person, you know, like to whatever degree.
No, absolutely. And I think that it helps me to be a good husband. It helps me to be a good father. That foundation of having fear of God or a higher power or love of God more so than fear is what allows me to be the person I am to my family, give my kids the love that they deserve, my wife the love that she deserves. But
and give yourself the love you
yeah,
deserve,
and more,
right?
and I think that's what the other thing is, that people forget to love here first, right? Like that's where it starts. Like I can't give you anything if my cup is empty. My mom tells me you can't pour into somebody's cup if your cup is empty.
It's very true.
Like, damn, that's a bar, Mom.
Yeah,
you know.
Yeah.
But it's the reality, man. You can't do anything for anybody if you don't have self-love.
Well, it's the old expression, right? Like if a plane's going down, what's the first thing you're gonna do? You got to put the mask on.
Yep.
You got to take care of you first.
Yep.
And it doesn't mean don't put your family ahead of your own, but it just means that you have to take care of yourself emotionally, physically,
in every aspect. I can't give you anything if I'm not good with myself.
Yep. So do you see your if your kids grow up, and you already said that you're okay with them just doing 1 year of college and then making a decision.
Yeah.
Where do you see them? Like, where do you see them going as far as like astronaut, like business person? Like,
know what?
Are you able to see any sort of sprinklings of it?
I don't even. I just want my kids to be happy, bro. Where they end up, I don't care where the hell they end up. You know what I mean? It could be a circus clown. As long as you're a happy circus clown, I can give two.
And a good person.
Yeah. Like, I'm just have joy in your heart, treat people kindly, and move about the world in a way with humility and just integrity, right? Like, I don't care what they do. I really don't. Just don't be a jackass.
Yeah.
It's very simple with me. Like, I don't
and
care.
Remember to laugh.
Yeah, enjoy this. Ride this.
Yeah,
thing
it's
to
only
the
one
wheels
of
full of, man. This is a very fleeting life. And I was saying this to Vanessa the other day. I was like, yo, it's flying by. It's flying by. Like, we were in college together. It feels like 15 minutes ago, but it was almost a quarter century ago.
Yeah, quarter century. When you put it like that.
Crazy.
Yeah. Almost 25 years ago. It was crazy.
Yeah.
Like, I just went to my 25th year reunion for high school, I think. Yeah, I went to my 25-year reunion for high school.
Bro.
That's a quarter century.
Yeah.
Seeing people that I hadn't seen since
then.
Some of them I hadn't seen, most of them I hadn't seen since then.
Yeah.
And like, but you know what's cool? Like, I feel like we're able to look back at those times and like you remember people for how they were and you're able to see people's successes. And like one day you're going to wake up and your kids are going to be adults. They're going to be married. They're going to be, and you know what I mean? Like that's going to happen one day.
I know. And
they're going to be taking care of you. And they're going to be wiping the drool. You know what I'm saying?
Listen, my wife will tell you, she's like, they're wiping the drool off him now. He's always drooling. But yeah, man, I hate thinking ahead when it comes to my kids, man. I hate I hate seeing them grow. I love seeing them grow, but I hate it, man. It's like
they
need you a little less every couple of years. They need you a little bit less, and it's a hard reality to come, to swallow. Man.
I'm reading a book right now called The 5 Types of Wealth, and one of the principles in like the first couple pages, he talks about it's the author is talking to a friend of his, and the author lives like on the West Coast, and his parents live on the East Coast. So he's like, oh, how often, how are your parents? And he's like, oh, they're doing okay. He's like, when was the last time you saw them? Oh, I saw them last Christmas, and it was whatever. 6 months later, he's like, well, how often do you see them? He's like, I go back every Christmas. And he's like, okay, and how old are your parents? And he was like, oh, they're probably in their 60s. He was like, all right, so if you just go back every Christmas, you only got about maybe 24 times left to see your parents.
That's crazy.
And the author describes that moment as the moment that he realized that he had to move back closer to the East Coast, so that way he could break that cycle. Because the fact of the matter is, like, once kids get to a certain point, like, you don't really connect with your parents as much as you'd like to, and you don't realize it. Like, if you only see your family on like the major holidays or birthdays, like, you're not really
connecting in that way. And I think that's true once you have your own family, whether you're far or close to your parents. So perfect example, like my parents live 45 minutes away from me. My mom my mom struggles with the fact that we don't see each other as often as we used to.
Mm-hmm.
But I speak to my mother like every day.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Whether it's FaceTime or on the phone. And
well, FaceTime's a wonderful thing.
Yeah.
Now that you can actually see,
but it's still, but that's still, it's still a disconnect.
Can't give a
right?
hug.
Yeah. There's nothing like a mama hug, right?
Yeah.
So
can't eat the meal.
Yeah. And boy, my mom throws down too. So, but yeah, man, there's nothing like that physical connection. Like even during the pandemic and all that stuff, when we couldn't hug each other and all that stuff, we couldn't hug each other. But like that was, my mom she was going through it. Yeah. You know what I mean? And I was like, Mom, but I don't want to kill you. Like I don't want you to die. Like I don't want anything to happen to you.
Just wear a mask.
Like we'll be like, let's just whatever it is.
Let them figure it out.
Yeah, let them figure it out, and then we come back.
Yeah.
But yeah, man, it's once you become an adult and you start seeing your parents less, and that's been a little bit of a thing with me and my mom, is like we have to be intentional. I have to spend more time.
I've been trying to be there.
Yeah.
Especially because like my pop's not around, so it's really just my mom.
Yeah, man.
And like it's difficult because you get caught up in the everyday thing. So like what I said to myself, and literally like I go back and forth with this, like as far as like being intentional and not being intentional, but like what I said to myself is from now on it's really easy just to like make that your call going to work.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like just make it the 5-minute call, just going to work. Like,
and it's not even, and the thing is like, if it's an obligatory call, they'll feel it, right? They'll know.
Of course.
But like
after you do it a couple times, now it's just like I just spoke to you yesterday.
Yeah, but that's the thing. So I talk to my mom every day when I'm like driving in between, work events or whatever the case may be, or if I'm driving home, I'll just shoot her a call, just let her know I'm thinking of her. You know what I mean? And just to hear her voice, because I don't know how much longer.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And not just saying, it might not be her, it might be me. Like I'm hyper cognitive and cognizant of the fact that this could all be gone tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to love as much as I can.
Yeah. Get it out.
Yeah, man.
Put it out in the world.
Yeah, man.
Plus that stuff comes back.
Bro.
When you show love, you receive love.
There was no greater feeling than walking into that restaurant on my 45th birthday and seeing all those faces in there. And it scared the shit out of me. I was like, but that
people that you hadn't seen in a while.
Hadn't seen in forever, man. And
it's almost like that those 2-3 hours go too quick.
Yeah, man. And I was so full from seeing everybody show up, man. And I know that there were people that wanted to be there, couldn't, and my wife threw that together, whatever the case may be. But seeing y'all faces and getting that love that you put out into the world is there's nothing like it.
Yeah, man.
But the other part is too, like I tell people, you can't do it with that in mind, right? Like when you do stuff for people, you have to just do it
from the bottom of your heart, not to expect
with no expectations. Because there's people that get wrapped up in doing things for people, and then like, well, I did that for you, and you like when it came time, then you did it for the wrong reasons, right?
Yeah, and you also weren't. I feel like most of who I am as a person, and just kind of to your point before about how your kids are you and Vanessa, like every night, like I feel it now as a 43-year-old, like. And my dad told me this. I promise you, like he said to me, and I have it written on paper. He said, as you get older, you'll start realizing you'll see more and more of my personality and my qualities inside of you. And you'll go back and you'll start realizing where you come from. And now as a 43-year-old dude, like I literally go back and I look at all of the things that my father kind of told me throughout my life. And I pick little pockets and I'm like, damn, like that's what he was talking about.
Yeah.
That's what he was talking about.
And your pops was dropping some gems on you heavy.
Like he was a natural born teacher.
Yeah.
Like that's what he did. Yeah. Everything was a lesson. Yeah. Like we'd be at dinner and it was like everything was a lesson.
I remember you used to drop stuff. I was like, yo, Steve, he's like, yeah, my pop said. I was like, damn. I was like, that's heavy, man.
Yeah.
But that's the things that we have to, grasp onto and collect, man. Like my dad you met my pops, man. Yeah. He's the GOAT, man. Yeah. And he same way, man. Everything was a lesson. And even when I wasn't receptive to it, he kept going. And
that's the job.
Yeah, man. That's
the job. Even when your kids are a pain in the ass.
Bro, he still like, Reef, man, you gotta do it. And I'm like, But I know, you know what I mean? I was like, I know it comes from a place of love and just, I'm still his baby boy.
Of course.
You know what I mean?
And he's still passing lessons on to you because he was a 44, 45-year-old father.
Yeah.
And so everything that you're experiencing are new experiences for you.
For me. And
he was there already.
He was already there, man.
And that's the idea.
But there we
That's
go.
the point.
It's the circle of life.
That's the point, man.
Yeah, man. It's dope though, man. You really sit back and think about it, man. It's we're all just an extension of the person that came before us, the people that came before us. And just like you said, man, Vanessa reminds me every chance she gets, like, you're just like your dad. You said that just like your dad. Yeah. You look like your father when you said that. And there's a certain level of pride that comes with that.
Of course,
you know what I mean? Like, my whole life I wanted to be like my dad. He's my superhero.
And that's
first
what
superhero.
You ended up.
I hope.
Well, you're still striving.
Yeah, man. But I hope my son looks at me and feels, and my wife says, "Yeah, your son loves you," and he lets me know. But I hope that when he gets of age and he's, 20, 30 years old, and he's like, "Yo, Dad, you were dope." You know what I mean? Like that's it probably
won't come. It probably come a little later. Probably come a little later.
Much later. But
when he
has his own, and God,
God, you know what I mean? Like,
God willing,
I
hope he does.
Or at some point, and my dad said to me, he said, at some point, you will realize that everything that you're more and more like me. Yeah. At some point, he didn't say when that was.
Yeah.
And it just so happens that it took a certain amount of years, but it's happening. Like it's legitimately happening.
Listen, there's certain things that I want to embrace. Like my father, he's old school, so there's a temperament that he has that I try to.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean. I have it. You know what I mean. I have that.
But you recognize it.
But I can pop off and But I have that tool that my father didn't have before me to be like
by seeing him.
Exactly.
I always say that, I was blessed that I have 2 older brothers and a father. Like my dad passed when I was 27 years old, but I had 3 older male role models that I was able to pull a lot of amazing qualities from and kind of see the bad qualities and be like, you know what? I'm not gonna rock with that. That's not what I'm.
And that's it, man. We're all. That's it. I tell my son, man. Even it's like a basketball analogy, right? You want to be good at basketball. You see the things that player that you like. You take a piece of that person's game, take a piece of that person's game, take a piece of that person's game, and then you become a collective of those things. Like what's the character Shang Tsung or whatever? I don't know, whatever.
What are we talking about?
But we just went off the rails. But he's a character that he collects like all the different styles.
Is
or
that
whatever.
a game?
It's an old karate movie from back in the day. He takes all the styles of the different karate masters and puts them, and he becomes the master.
Not like Bruce Leroy.
Not like almost like Bruce Leroy though. Bruce Leroy. You know what? I should have used Bruce Leroy as the reference. That's a better point. You know what I mean? Take it back to the block.
What's one piece of advice you'd give to a new father?
Wow, new father. Jeez, man. It's okay to not know. You're not gonna know everything, but you figure it out.
Yeah.
Because I remember my wife, when Vanessa and I brought Sage home, we put him down and we just kind of looked at him. I was like, so what do we do? What do we do?
With instruction manual.
I'm like, what do we do now? And we just kind of, and then luckily they just sit there, those early stages, and you kind of, cultivate what it is that you want to do and how you want to raise your child. But have fun with it, man.
Yeah.
Just have fun with it and don't take it too seriously.
And how about a new husband?
New husband, listen before you speak. Yeah. Listen and express yourself. Communicate as well. And everybody tells you that, right? Communication is key. It really is. It really is. And it's not easy for a lot of men to express how they feel, but it'll allow your relationship to flourish if you are honest and say how you feel when you feel it.
I agree with that 1,000%.
And having a person that's able to receive that information too, because let's be honest, sometimes honesty is not what the person is saying. But but it'll set you free in the sense that everything is on the table, right? There's no secrets. Like if I'm telling you, I tell you everything you need to know, and we can move on from there. You know.
Yep. You know what I find where I struggle with a lot is reading between lines. Like I listen.
Yeah.
You know, like that scene in White Man Can't Jump where it's like,
you want a glass of water?
No. You can listen.
But you can't hear Jimmy.
Yeah.
You can listen to Jimmy, but you can't hear.
I can listen to what you're saying, but I gotta hear what you're saying.
And that's the thing too. It's like that. I don't always.
The glass of water thing is funny too, though.
Yeah.
That's actually,
when I say I'm thirsty, that does not mean I want a glass of water.
That's actually relevant for this conversation as well. But I was going with the Jimi Hendrix thing.
Yeah, but it's true though. Like you, and I say all that. I'm not perfect by any means in this relationship. You know, I'm learning as I go too. Like I'm still learning. I'm 20 years in. I'm still learning. But I know that when my wife talks, I have to really be intentional with listening to what she's saying. I feel like the
overarching theme is intentionality.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's what
like when they're talking. All right, you put the phone down.
Yeah,
like that's I'm big with that, right? Like I'll be texting and she'll be talking to me and I'm like, yo, babe.
You're not even listening.
I know, but babe, that's because I was texting before you started talking. Like, let me put this down.
Yeah.
Like, just give me a second.
And that's the thing those are the things you have to do. You have to be aware and you have to think fast and get out, put the phone down. Like, you have to do it. And it's not always going to be easy.
Be like, just, yeah. Wait, it is. I love you, baby.
I love you, Vanessa. I love you, girl.
I'm hearing you.
But that's the thing. Like you have to be able to regurgitate the words that they said to you. But you have to listen, man. They want to hear it back. They want to hear it back, and they want to hear it back verbatim sometimes. You know,
man.
Listen. But if you but just listen, man. Like I think that's how we got here in the first place. Is that like we listen to each other. Right? Yep. Like she's my best friend.
Yep.
You know, she still is my best friend. So.
all right, man. Listen, dude, I appreciate you coming by today. This was awesome.
Man. Bro, I love you, man. You know, anytime I get to hang out with you, man, it's golden.
There's somebody that's going to listen to this and somebody that's going to take some of the nuggets from what you said. And your kids are going to see this one day. Yeah. Vanessa's going to see it next week when it drops. But
I hope I didn't say anything crazy.
But I truly, truly, truly appreciate you coming by. And honestly, and as I said before, bro, I really honestly admire your dedication to being a father and and the husband that you are.
I'm trying, man. Although my wife might argue, I got a lot of work to do on that.
Hey, listen, we all do. We ain't perfect.
But I'm trying. Listen, the thing is, keep trying, right?
Yeah.
That's it, man.
Yeah, just
every day.
Get knocked down 7, get up 8.
That's it.
Yeah.
Same thing.
All right, man. That's a wrap, bro.
My
man.
Love you, kid.
My man. Love you too, bro.